Hey there, YouTube. This is Team Valhalla with Loki here. We're going to talk about our recent regional trip in Hartford, Connecticut on October 19th, 2013. He went there with Boojins. So we're going to talk about his first couple matches and how he did. This is our first regional together as a team. We all did decently well. None of us topped, but some of us were on the bubble, on the cusp, so it was definitely fun. So here we go.
Hey YouTube, just want to start off by saying anybody who's watching this, if you have not been to a regional, I recommend going. It was a lot of fun, and I mean, whether I won a match or I lost a match, it was just fun. A lot of people were actually not that kind of douchey per se, didn't call me on a lot of rulings or anything like that, they just wanted to have fun. I started off the day playing Black Wings.
Granted, our regional started 2 hours late.
It did. It was supposed to start at 10. It started at noon. So, I mean, we were there for a long-ass time.
Well, we were there till like 10 o'clock?
Yeah, I think so.
10,
I think
11.
that's where it was.
Yeah, I think it was 11.
Unfortunately, I was playing a slower player at Yu-Gi-Oh! And when playing Black Wings, which they're supposed to be a faster deck, it made it really tricky for us to actually complete a game. I mean, it took us about 25 minutes to a half hour to just complete our first game. I ended up winning mainly because he really couldn't get over my cranes, and he wasn't expecting Quillen to pop, and he only drew one Black Whirlwind the entire game. So, I mean, that was gone early, so he didn't have his main draw power that he was hoping for. It was really second game where it got a lot trickier, mainly because I opened 5 spells and 1 trap.
What were those, if you remember?
Spell Shining Arrow, 2 MSTs, Foolish Burial, Dark Hole, and then it was a Vanity's Emptiness I drew into. So I was just kind of looking at it like, okay, let's try this. So I ended up setting everything, keeping Foolish Burial and Dark Hole in hand. I was thinking about activating Foolish, but I was just like, nah, there's no point. I got no monsters right now, and there's no way for me to bring him back from the grave. So it was really tricky. It took, I believe, like 5 turns before I even drew 1 monster, and thank God it was Yamato. But he instantly bottomless Yamato, and I didn't have a lance or anything like that for me to use. So Yamato was gone early game. He, instead of him overpowering me with, I believe it was Soraka the Blue Flame and that like 2000 beat stick that can special summon, he ended up summoning, I think, another Soraka and overlaying for Utopia, and he just kind of beat me with Utopia with just like 25, 25, 25. So he ended up winning game 2 because of time, so it ended in a draw, which, I mean, when you think about it, it's better than a loss, but at the same time, it was just
Not as good as a win.
Not as good as a win, which I'm pretty sure I could have came back from it.
So what did you face round 2?
Round 2 was an interesting matchup. If I'm correct, I believe it was Constellars. Yeah, it was Constellars that I was going up against. Sweetest guy ever. I mean, like, he was having a lot of fun, and he ran a weird Constellar build. He wasn't running the standard, where it's just like, let's summon out level 4s. I mean, he was running Sayat, like that level 1 that can change its levels, and the Searcher level 3. So, I mean, that was pretty interesting to face. I beat him both games, mainly because of Susano. Mainly just because he wasn't expecting Susano to be able to attack everything. And when game 2, I ended up sighting in Flying Sea. So I knew he immediately went with Sombre. And as soon as he did Sombre's effect and he summoned out Koss, I just went Flying Sea. And he was sitting there with 2 level 4s, but he couldn't exceed. And he's like, what is this card? Why is this on the field? This is so dumb.
Yeah, that was our little fun tech choice of the regional.
I mean, it won against Constellars. I thought it was pretty funny. I never used it ever again that day, but
it's definitely fun though for that one match.
So after that, he didn't have any back row, so I wasn't scared of anything. So I immediately just went into Susano, ditched for Quillen. use Quillen's effect to get rid of his Flying Sea. I knew that was a risky move, but I knew that after I was able to attack and get over everything, he didn't have anything else. Just kind of a gut feeling, but I knew he just couldn't get over that. So, I mean, with one crane in hand, I just kind of attacked over both things. And after that, it was just simple Susanoo attacking like once or twice for game.
Well, that's good. So what about round 3?
Round 3, I believe, was dragons. It was
what variation?
It was the plant one, with debris, and
okay.
he was running dandelion.
Was he good or?
He was all right. I mean,
Did you win?
I didn't win, so that's why I believe he was a bit better.
Did you get 2-0'd?
No. Game 1.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Game 1, he won. Game 2, I won. And then when it goes into Game 3, I instantly thought I got this because of one fatal flaw. All right. No Phoenix Chain, no Effect Veilers. I had nothing. And for whatever reason, this guy just goes straight into, he has his Dragosack. And he goes, Dragosack's effect, pop Yamato. I'm like, Turtle. And he's like, oh, what's Turtle do? It's like, negates the effect of targeting. He's like, okay, that's fine. So he immediately goes straight into Scrap Dragon. Now I'm thinking, crap, now I'm screwed. Because, he's just going to be like, okay, target Dragosack, target Yamato, attack directly. No. This guy targets Dragosack, targets my back row, which my back row was an MST, destroys MST, and sends Dragosack to grave. I didn't question it. I didn't call it. I didn't say a word. But I don't know why he sent it. There was a token on the field. So after that, he attacked with Scrap Dragon. I had a crane, so I at least got over the Scrap Dragon. Next turn, I drew into another MST. I didn't have anything, nor did I have Quillen's Engrave, and I'm like, crap, I really could use one right now. So I kind of just attacked the token, get rid of a token at least. His turn came. This kid went off. His face down, of course, was returned from a different dimension.
There you go.
That's what lost me the game, because he was just like, let me bring back everything. He was just attacking, and I had nothing to defend myself. He won game 3, so I mean, it was my first loss of the day.
So you were 2-0, and then
Yeah, I was 2-0-1, and then I just got swept by Dragon. So it was a pretty bad loss. But I was like, okay, I'll deal with it. I can bounce back. Let's do this. Game 4. This is where
round 4.
Yeah, round 4.
Okay.
It was pretty interesting. Maybe because I didn't see this coming, and when it did come, I got hit hard, like really hard first game, and I couldn't believe it. Let me tell you, you would have looked at me and laughed. It was Crystal Beasts.
Yeah, I heard you got OTK'd by Crystal Beast.
It literally came down to, he had like 1,000 life points. I'm clear. I think I have like 5,000. This kid pulls nuts. He like does Crystal Tree, sends everything to the back, does Ruby Carbuncle to special everything. Wait, no, it wasn't Tree. It was Abundance. Mm-hmm. Abundance cleared my field. He only summoned 2 monsters. And with that, it was like Sapphire Pegasus, his Tiger. He just went off like crazy and just OTK'd me from there. And I was like, okay. Well, I didn't see that coming. And the people next to me were sitting there like, you just got OTK'd by Crystal Beast. What are you doing? But I didn't sweat it too much. Game 2 came. Excuse me. Game 2 came. And MVP of that game, I sided in Spell Shattering Arrow because I knew, like, he's just going to load up his back row with Crystal Beast. And I knew it. So, like, first couple rounds, he ends up getting a full back row. He has, like, Mammoth, he has Tiger, he has Ruby, and he has Sapphire Pegasus, along with a Crystal Tree, and he has his field spell out. And I'm like, crap, okay, what can I do here? Just Yamato on the field, and I'm like, okay, top decked. And I was like, sweet. Spell Shattering Arrow. he ended up taking 2,500 for each of those spells because, of course, his Crystal Beast count as continuous spell cards. So he ends up taking 25, and I attacked directly with Yamato for game. Game 3 just didn't draw anything, and Yamato just overpowered him with cranes. That was the end of that. So then after that, I'm feeling good. I was like, okay, I'm 3, I'm 1 draw. Yeah, no. After that, we went just straight downhill. Because next game went up against Spellbooks. It was Blue Eyes Spellbooks.
Yeah, this is the first time you saw Blue Eyes Spellbooks, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And it was just an awful time to see it.
One of the kids that we go to locals with actually taught Philadelphia with Blue Eyes Spellbooks.
Did he really?
Yeah, he taught.
He can go fuck himself with Blue Eyes Spellbooks, let me tell you. Game 1, he never actually revealed any Blue Eyes Maidens or Blue Eyes, so I didn't know.
He could have sided into it, too.
He could have. He actually could have sided in the Blue Eyes with a Blue Eyes Maiden.
Conversion decks, man.
It was awful. Game 1...
Did you get 2-0'd?
It was 2-0. Game 1, he had me. He always had his fates when he needed them. His fates were the key, because... anytime I summoned anything, he was just like, fate either flipped down or he'd banished. And he was cycling through his spells like it was nothing. I mean, who needs judgment when I was facing this kid? Like, if he would have drew judgment, I should have just walked away. He was going faster than what that card could do. Game 2, he ended up playing Maiden, and I was just like, are you kidding me? Because fun card that I tech in is Tuner Scheme. And... it allows me...
that's a Team Valhalla signature.
It is. When an opponent monster synchro summons, I can activate this and I can take control of that. If that monster leaves the field, so does Tuner Scheme. But you don't get control of it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Because every time he was just like, Azure Eyes, Special Summon Blue Eyes. It turned into a Blue Eyes deck, then a Spellbook deck. He was just thinning out his deck with the spell cards. So, I mean, it was pretty awful. What had happened after the Spellbook matches was that they ended up pairing everybody. And I think I was going up against, like, a Chaos Dragon deck or something like that. And people had started early, so they're like, reswap. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Reswap.
Oh, yeah, so what happened was... one of the judges called start earlier, about 5 minutes earlier than it was supposed to be. And so people were like already done with game 1, and some people haven't started yet. So the head judge called a repairing. And so at that point, I think all 3 of us ended up dropping the repair round and went to go play Winamat. Oh no. Did you not drop?
We did it. You did.
No, I dropped, I'm sorry. But the other 2 members did not drop. But that was fun still. Winamat's stupid.
Yeah. So I ended up getting repaired against another Blackwing player. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's see if I can get over the Blackwings. Game 1, total back and forth. Like, I'd strike, he'd strike, I strike, he strike. I ended up winning game 1 because of the funniest thing in the world. Not a lot of Bujin players play Horror of the Phantom Beast, but I do. So, I think he had a Soraka the Blue Flame. So I was just like, Yamato attacks. He's like, okay, they're going to kill each other. So he's like, okay, no response. I'm like, okay, damage step. I activate Horror of the Phantom Beast. Gives me the 800. After that, he's like, okay, let me play Kalut. And so Kalut gives it like, I think 13 or 1600
14.
more. 14 extra attack points. So what I did is that immediately I'm like, okay, let me go Crane. So when I went Crane, it was just, he's like, well, crap, Crane. He's like, until another Kalut. So I'm like, okay, so now we're just stacking attack points here.
So let me get this straight. You went attack, then I went Horn of the Phantom Beast.
So 800 on Yamato.
Then he activated Kalut.
So 14 on his 18.
And then and then you went Crane.
On top
and he
of
went another Kalut.
Yes. But to finish it all off was, he didn't see this coming. He's like, okay, I got this. I drop Honest. So it was just like a 4600 just overpower, game 1 kill. It was pretty funny. Everyone was laughing. It was when game 2, he got his Blackwing Whirlwinds really early in the game, so he was just kind of filling his hand with what he needed, and he just overpowered everything I was summoning. Game 3 was probably about a difference of 1,000 life points, and he just got in the final hit before I could.
Did you drop after that, or?
No, I mean, I went one more game after that with the Blackwings, being because I lost, and I faced another Spellbook deck, and I was just like, well, one, I wasn't going to make it with the 3 losses like that, so my 2 wins, 3 losses, there was no way I was going into that, so I was like, okay, let me play one more, and I faced another Spellbook deck. I ended up beating that Spellbook deck, but after that, I was just like, I'm just going to drop. Because, everyone else had dropped. There was just no more.
Dropped at round 7, right?
Yeah, that's where it ended. So I ended up being, technically, I was like 2-3-1, but I guess because of that spellbook, I was 3-3-1. Still wouldn't have counted for anything. So I guess in the end, I did end with a 3-3-1 before I dropped, and I was done for the day.
All right. Well, that's our regional cover from Loki. And with Boojins. Bye, YouTube.